Well, and I feel a lot of people too, when they find someone like you, they won't hire a wedding coordinator because they think you've got it.
Oh, well, that's not the case. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today's business connection is going to be with my friend Karen, who is an event planner coordinator, but we're going to get exactly into what she does and the benefits of having an event planner on your wedding or even your event when it comes to that. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. But this one here, I feel like is like the nugget hidden as the needle in the haystack. This is the one that is, in my opinion, so needed and necessary on a wedding day that is not utilized enough. All right, Karen. This is Karen from LaJoy Designs. All of her information is going to be above and down in the description below. We met through a few different people. We kind of flow in the same circle with a bunch of different people. I think outside the box is where we got reconnected and stuff like that. Wedding industry, wedding, all things wedding. That's what I really want to talk about. The first thing I want to address is, what do you do for weddings?
Where LaJoy Designs comes in for weddings, brides, is that we start with you from the beginning. We can jump in the middle, and we can help you at the end.
Okay.
I think where we excel is at the beginning.
Oh, I like that.
So we excel from the beginning because of all of the issues that occur from the day you get engaged to when you leave on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
A lot of what I do personally is I'm a Reiki master, and I feel that I can bring a certain elevated energy to your home, to the process. I've had to walk many brides down the aisle myself, and I feel like having your basis and your core of who you are, what you want, and bringing that vision is really more than having what your color theme is, or having your flowers, or having your favors. You really need to be able to set the tone and the energy in order to be successful at the end of the day. There's a lot that goes on, as you have probably seen. There's disjointed families. There's brothers and sisters that don't care for each other. There's
parents that don't care for each other.
Parents that are there because they have to be. The bride and groom who suffer from, I have to do it this way because my parents are paying for the wedding.
Good point.
How do we get around that? How do we make everybody feel important, and that, you know, the parents are getting the best value, and the couple that's getting married is definitely feeling comfortable with spending their parents' money. So I feel that, we can do all things. Good. So
let me address something, because I feel like this is something that you're the second person I've talked to about this, is as an event planner, okay, how would you approach a bride and groom that have parents that want things done traditionally, and meaning they want to have it done in the church, but the bride and groom know that when you have a ceremony over here, you have to drive to the next place, so you're eating up time and things like that. How would you help a wedding couple that is, you know, dealing with traditions from parents because they're paying for it, they feel like they have to, but there's a younger couple that wants to keep things not so traditional, but include some things, but at the same time, keep it relevant to 2025.
Sure. Yeah, we do. There's a lot of balance, right?
Okay. Balance. That's a good word.
So the balance is, what are the things that your mom or your dad that are really, really important to them? What are the things that are really important to you and your, you know, whomever you're marrying? One of the things that's the most difficult to get people to understand, and I'm working with somebody right now who has relatives coming in from another country. We have a language barrier. We have a time barrier. And the struggle is the traditional wedding in the church, but a 2-hour gap between the church and the reception.
Ooh.
And that is not time I can fill unless you want me to become a magician, or, I mean, that is just a long period of time.
That's a long break,
It's
yeah.
a long break. So I try to tell people, listen, you know, you do have to have an extended happy hour. You can't expect people to leave the church and go to Walmart for 2 hours or fit their errands in between what you're doing.
Great point.
So what we try to do is offer, you know, the internet's super helpful on for people what can they do? What are you know, some things that they offer? But I always recommend, you know, have extended cocktail hour, even if it's not heavy appetizers or hors d'oeuvres. Start it early, have there be music.
Give people someplace to go.
Give them somewhere to go so that they're not sitting in their car, scrolling on their phones, fighting with their kids. And then by the time they've got that 2-hour break and they get back to your ceremony, all kinds of drama has happened in their lives.
Great point. Great point.
It's a tough balance.
Yeah.
It really is.
Great point.
It is.
Let's start, where can they find you on Instagram?
So I'm at Karen LaJoy Designs.
At Karen LaJoy Designs.
At Karen LaJoy Designs.
And how about on Facebook?
And on Facebook, I am at LaJoy Designs, Heart to Home.
Heart to Home. And they can find you either way, back and forth when it comes to that. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
So as an event planner, a bride is looking to have somebody help them, because I'm sure you've run into this. Wedding couples have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
We had a little story before we started about guys are just like, okay, what time do I have to be there? I'll put my suit on and that's it. And then there's brides that just don't have the knowledge of how things flow. How can you help a couple that has absolutely no idea? They just got engaged and they're like, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
Do you do from engagement all the way to the wedding, or do you do day of services also?
I do.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. So what I would always recommend.
Thank you. That's what I want to hear.
What I would always recommend is once you get engaged, just enjoy it, right?
Good advice.
Enjoy that moment as much as you are going to enjoy getting married to that person, right? Those are two very, very special days. I myself, when I got engaged, it was phenomenal. I had a lot of ideas on what I wanted to do. I always wanted, you know, red, white, and black. I always wanted to get married in February, and I wanted this photographer. I wanted this band, and I was overwhelmed with thoughts. People didn't like my photographer. People were like, you can't do that. You can't have this. You can't have that. And I really, myself, I was so upset. I canceled the wedding, and I moved it to October. And I took the time between those moments of people overwhelming me, because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all of these places to go, right? So I would recommend folks go on and look and read and absorb, but don't take everything that people out there are saying.
Great advice.
And for
great
me too,
advice,
like,
Karen, great advice.
You know, if you're looking at me, look at me for these reasons.
Yeah.
And those reasons will be acceptable to you once you get to know me.
Yeah.
I'm very energy eccentric. I am all about balance. I am all about trying to take that the energy that is going to try to infiltrate you, whether you like it or not, off of you.
Yeah.
Balancing, you know, your event space, balancing the bridal suite. You know, the bridal suite, there's a lot that goes on there. There's just a lot. So I will take my Reiki practice and extend that to my couples and their families and do energy work for them and help them handle the mother-in-law that is being difficult.
Or the mother.
Right?
I just threw it in there.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's
I'm
always,
just saying.
You know, and I do feel bad for the mom, right? I always say celebrate your mother, right? Like, because moms they're gaining, but they're losing
at the same time.
At the same time, in the same day.
I agree.
Know, and I have 2 boys, and I love my daughter-in-laws, but the feeling of just like, wow, you know, it's so powerful. You've brought these children into the world. You've grown them up. They're men. They're successful women. And in the same breath, it's like, here, take my baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like I could cry. It's just like, you know, you love your kids so much, and you're just so happy for them that you've grown them up in a manner where, wow, you know, both of my boys had 2 completely different weddings. I'm a wedding coordinator. They both know that. And I said at the beginning, I'm out. You come to me when you need me, if you need me. And they did. And one eloped and got married in Aruba and came back and had an awesome party. The other one had a traditional wedding venue hall, and it was awesome. So,
but it was both specific to what they wanted.
But it was what they wanted, right? And you know, as a mother, as a coordinator, and seeing the drama that people will face with those 2 different decisions, because some families are just like, no, you are getting married in the church. You know, or you are not eloping. I won't be able to be there. And it's like, you just got to realize when, you know, when to let go. But we do jump in. And when I say we, I have a couple of girls that work with me. I'm not a full blown, you know, you won't see me pull up in a truck with my logo on the side. We always work. There's always 2 of us. I think that is what sets us apart. A lot of, event coordinators will advertise day of, there's the lead, and then there's a half of a lead. You will always have 2 leads with me.
Nice.
I don't know how they do it. It blows my mind that you could do it alone. And my fear has always been, if I wake up in the morning and I'm sick as a dog, what am I going to do for you? Like, you've got my notes, you know how I would want this to go for you, but how are you going to pull it off? Like, I can't be sick and talking to your maid of honor and being like, okay, this is what you got to do. So there's always 2 of us. Usually, as you know, venues are large. They're huge. You're upstairs, you're downstairs. If you don't have an event coordinator as a bride, you need to determine how many of the 100 questions you can answer while you're getting your lashes put on, or who you're going to assign to those situations.
Great point.
And
Great point.
How are they going to handle them?
And usually the people that get assigned to that position is the mother or the mother-in-law of the couple.
Yeah.
And they've already got enough stuff going on also. So I want to hear a story from you about your worst experience with it could have been a wedding person, meaning it could have been the mom, it could have been the dad, it could have been a bride and groom, it could have been a maid of honor of some sort. So before you do yours, the one experience that I had that was a little bit more challenging was I had a mother of the bride, reach out to me, hey, heard about you on social media. Can you show me your, stuff? So this was back before like 2017 or something. So we met in Panera's. I brought a couple of books with me, and she's flipping through, and let me just say it this way. She's flipping through. She's like, yeah, that's all right. That looks good. Not really my style, but I'll bring it to her and see what she says. So I already got a vibe from the mom of how she was. The bride loved it. Yeah, she loved the creativity. She loved everything that was in there, and the mom's like, oh, okay, well, whatever, if that's what she wants. Yeah. So I got hired. So the morning of the wedding, which would happen to be Cape Cod, the morning of the wedding, the mother of the bride decided she was going to call me aside and tell me to not photograph her daughter from her right side. And I said, well, is there a reason for that? She goes, yeah, there's a tattoo that's on that shoulder that she got when she was rebellious, when she was 16 years old, that every time I see that, it reminds me of those times. So I looked at her and I said, okay, I'll be aware of that. Well, she had a strapless dress on. How do you not photograph a bride from, right. And now, of course, the bride favors that side. So when I say, what side do you want to be on? That's the side that she's going to be on. Yeah. So I'm in this predicament of delivering images that I knew the mom stylistically wise didn't like. but also the mom was a little bit, didn't like that part of the shoulder. So that I'm delivering pictures of that. So I'm like, but the bride is my client.
Yeah.
If she says this is what she wants, this is what she's going to get, and I will climb a tree and get any angle I need to get to do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever run across any stories like that where you've had some challenging things happen on a wedding day?
Yeah, everything is challenging on a wedding day.
Great point.
So everything is challenging. As it's challenging from so many avenues, right? There's the challenges of the DJ. There's that subject. There's the challenge of photographers. It's all challenging, right? Okay. So I probably have a story regarded to every vendor. The ones that stick out, I had a bride, and to your point, the bride and groom are my clients. They are, regardless of who's paying, regardless of who's paying. And I will always make that known.
Yep.
So it is, I am not here to manage your mother-in-law. I will help you.
Yep.
I will help you push them around, get them into the right space. I will take over. So it's not you doing it, it's me. I had a mom who was furious with her daughter that she was not having the color yellow. The color yellow was extremely important to the mom. She wanted yellow roses, she wanted yellow flowers, she just wanted everything to be yellow. The bride, however, said to me, listen, my mom's probably gonna, crawl up in your grill a little bit, and she just wants yellow flowers, and I just want you to be aware of that. And I thought, okay, well, how is this going to affect me? How it affected me was I was at a very prestigious venue on the water in Connecticut, and I was coming through the lobby, and the doors opened, and a florist showed up, and I was like, oh, this is great. It's a venue where you can have two weddings at the same time, and I admired the beautiful flowers, and I'm overhearing the delivery person say, this is for such and such wedding. Where would you like me to put this? This meaning literally a dumpster truck full of flowers. It was the biggest delivery van I've ever seen of flowers. And all of a sudden it started to connect with me. I was like, those flowers are yellow. I'm like, oh my God, that's my wedding. I'm like, oh dear Lord, that's the mother. The mother went and hired a florist, designed as many of the flowers that she wanted there and had them delivered to the hall. And I had to say to the delivery guy, I said, I know you're getting paid for this. I know you're just doing your job. That's your room. And I had them delivered to a conference room. And I worked with the folks at the desk, and I said, you need to do me a favor. You need to lock that door. And nobody goes in. Nobody needs to know what's behind there. Nobody needs to get in there, and the door needs to be locked. And I don't think I've ever in my entire life been screamed at as much as I was that day. And the mom just absolutely, I'm going to leave you a bad review. I'm like, great. How many more of those can you have, right? It's like you're actually doing what someone has asked you to do. And here's this woman who just felt that because she was paying for the wedding, she could have the flowers that she felt were more appropriate than what her daughter wanted. And I felt bad, I felt bad for the bride because it was heartbreaking. It was in that moment, the mom went, crazy, and she's like, why is everything happening? And I'm like, had one of my assistants take the mom. Yeah. I took the bride, and we recovered. But
good.
It's always something.
Yeah, it is.
It's always something.
What is your most memorable, heartfelt memory at a wedding?
So there's a lot of those. I would have to say there's a lot more of those than
thankfully, yes.
Thankfully,
there's more good than bad.
Which is why I continue.
But anything off the top of your head, like
yeah. So I worked with a family, and I will say that most of the business that I have are recommendations only.
Okay.
I don't do 100 to 200 weddings a year. I don't want to. The ones I do, I want to do well, and I want there to be a very heartfelt connection between myself and the people that I'm working with. But I worked with a family that was very close to me, and their wedding was on the water. It was on the Connecticut River in their backyard, and everything was so well done because we worked together as a team. They followed my lead. They asked for my suggestions. I gave them ideas. Some worked, some didn't. We just, we improved on every idea that we both had. The bride and groom were lovely. Their wedding party was attentive. Probably one of the most attentive wedding parties I've ever seen. And I say that because I use my big voice a lot with bridal parties. They don't listen. They don't take the event coordinator position seriously because I feel, and I guess I know, that when someone is asked to be in the wedding, it's because you're the cousin, you're the best friend.
Great point.
Right? Your cousin Joey. And your cousin Joey is going to wear his sunglasses upside down, backwards, hanging out his ear. He's going to make faces whenever he wants. He's going to put the peace sign behind your head because he's your cousin Joey, right? And you're the groom, and he's your cousin. He's your best buddy.
Oh, that's just how he is.
It's how he's going to be, right? Well, let me talk to you about how it's going to be when your cousin Joey isn't lined up downstairs where all the action is happening, and he misses walking with his groom-mate, right? One of the matrons, and he's running up the stairs to get in line, and he's trying to put his crooked sunglasses on, and the photographer is like, oh geez, yes, it's always good to have great, funny candidates, right? But in this wedding, it was one of the most respectful groups of people. The DJ was phenomenal. We had a glitch. I deal with glitches all the time.
Yep.
I'm sure you do too. This glitch was with a preferred vendor. I meet with all the vendors early, get to know them, set the boundaries, set the rules, and I will tell them exactly what will happen if the rule is not followed. And the rule is there are no problems, there's only solutions. Do not come to me in the moment and tell me you have a problem. You need to come to me in the moment and tell me you have a solution. This particular wedding, they brought in, somebody to cook. There was a catering event, and they came to me and they said, well, we have a problem. And immediately I was like, it's not the word. Problem is not the word of the day on my watch. And they were like, oh, right, okay. So the question is, we have had a generator go down that has caused us to not be able to cook all of food at the same time. Would it be okay with you if we served 20 minutes late? And I just said, it's a precious little question. And I said, well, what is your solution? Is your solution that we're serving 20 minutes late? Because that's the wrong answer. And she says, well, we can send somebody to go get more propane and another grill. It's here and there. And I said, well, if you send that person that is your solution to go get what you need to cook, will we be 20 minutes late? And she said, no. There's your answer, right? Like, don't even come to me with that. That lack of understanding of like, oh, I don't have to put any effort into it. I can get away with pushing the timeline 20 minutes.
Don't touch a timeline on a wedding day.
Not even.
No.
Not even. And this particular wedding, the timeline was clockwork. There was respect. The photographer was great. Everything was just wonderful. And we got lucky. It was outside and it was a beautiful day.
Good.
But, mentioning timeline, I always say to all the couples at the beginning, before we sign a contract, I'm a timeline person. And I'm here to tell you or to encourage you to think about these things. Your photographer is not your timeline setter. And a lot of folks will say, "Oh, I don't need a wedding coordinator because my photographer has set the timeline." Very true statement. You do, right? You are usually the first person on site. You're the person at 6 o'clock in the morning who is at the house filming the makeup, the breakfast, the what's going on, and you're the last one to leave. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the people I speak with are like, "We have a great photographer. He's got this timeline. We love it. It's going to be great." Okay, great. I help the photographer keep the timeline that you give me. Yeah. Because if you say something, the bride wants photos of grandma and grandpa and all of this and the scenery, and you've told me you meet with the bride, they're your customer too, right? So all these vendors have the same client, and we're all working towards the same end game. Mm-hmm. And that end game is success in your industry, success in my field, and not a good review. Those help. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, they're not going through, postpartum blues. Mm-hmm. Right? They're not regretting every single thing that happened to them in that day. Mm-hmm. People will say, just in passing, friends of friends, like, "Oh, they're not going to get a wedding coordinator even a day of because they have a venue coordinator," right? So I'm thrilled when there's a venue coordinator because it's always very helpful. It's not the answer, right? So people get married in a lot of different venues, a lot of different buildings, a lot of different scenes. There's water, there's sand, there's halls, there's so many things to deal with. Venues, when you rent a barn, usually don't come with anybody. They drive the tractor of hay up and they drop it off and they leave. So in those instances, you better have the best of the best vendors, the best, right? I would highly recommend somebody that's not in the wedding, that's not attending the wedding, the best friend that's like, "I'll step out of the dress, I'm your BFF and I've got you," in ways that you should know they've got you. The venues that come with an event coordinator, they don't work for you. They work for the venue. They will be aware of your timeline. They will understand that this bridal party is moving throughout these rooms. There's a lot of times where wedding coordinators will be turning over a room while you're still at your cocktail party. There needs to be somebody to make sure that that happens, because the event coordinator at the venue is thinking about the capacity of that room, thinking about this bride had these chairs, this bride wants these chairs. Who in your world is going over to that room while you're at your cocktail party and making sure your chairs get swapped out? I mean, I've had last minute situations where it was like, "Not the chair." And they're like, "Oh, we're sure that, these were the chairs." And I go to my old school binder, not my phone, because usually the battery's going to die. And I go to the contract. I carry all the contracts for my brides. I read them.
All of the vendors for the day, you have the contracts?
I have them. Wow. They're in the binder.
That's very thorough.
They're in the binder. And it's because I don't want to have to think about it. I can help a bride and groom negotiate. I've negotiated contracts for large organizations my entire career, mm-hmm. In the corporate world. But there's things in there people don't even realize that are in there. Like vendors will say, we require a 20 to 25% tip on top of the fee, and we would like it paid before the actual services. So there's
wedding vendors put that inside of their packages?
Yeah. So there's all kinds of things that I see that I can say, listen, it's a great shot, but we're going to take that out, right? I don't believe in tipping anybody until you can actually say, this was money well spent and it was enjoyable. You did your job, right? And I'd prefer if the vendors do their job and then some. And that is where I believe the tipping comes in. But I'll do it. I'll do it either way.
Yep.
You know, whatever it is. It's our wedding.
Yep.
So let's talk about it.
Yep.
Let's talk about what works. But you know, the event coordinator that is on site is worried about fire, right? They're worried about access.
Yeah.
They're worried about keeping parking lots
Yeah.
open for
Yeah.
fire trucks.
Yep.
They're worried about ADA compliance.
Yeah.
You know, if you have folks that are in wheelchairs at your wedding,
Great point.
you know, everyone will grab a chair and pull up,
Yeah.
right? Well, if there's a fire, now you've just blocked the exit
Great point.
to
Great
where
point.
the folks that are at your wedding, or you're creating situations where people are going to run and now they're tossing furniture.
Yeah.
So the event coordinators are great. I'm thrilled, as I say, because those are the things I don't have to think about is like, oh
Yeah.
God, the
Yeah.
access,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I did a wedding recently with a wedding event coordinator that was phenomenal. I walked in with the bride and I looked around, and usually I just have to look and I'm just like, okay, this is what needs to go where, right, in my mind.
Yeah.
Very feng shui certified, very energy conscious about where are you going to be standing? Where are the people, where are your guests going to be witnessing you? Where is the energy coming from your priest or the person giving your ceremony? Walked into the venue and she was like, this is what we usually do. The bride and groom sit here at the table. We do, you know, we face this way. We bring all the chairs. And I'm thinking and absorbing and I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh dear Lord. I was like, well, why would the bride and groom sit here? There's a window here and a window here, and above their head is a fire sprinkler system, a big red box. And the answer was, well, the photographers always Photoshop that out. And I thought, that's horrible, because there's 130 people at your wedding that aren't going to Photoshop
Yep.
that big
Yep.
red firebox
Yep.
out, right? So all of the photos that you're going to see that are being posted of you and your husband
Yeah.
are going to have a big firebox
Yeah.
in the back. And those are the ones that are going to go on Facebook initially,
Yeah.
right? The photographer is going to have to struggle in this situation with the glare of those windows. What time are you getting married? Where is the sun? Where is the light? After the wedding, the bride and groom will sit here because we will take all the chairs down and then we will put up the tables. So while you leave and you go outside to your cocktail hour, the event coordinator will be moving the facilities people to take out the seating, put down the tables, everything will come in, and the bride and groom are sitting right in front of an entire plate glass window. Then it's going to get dark, and everything is going to reflect
Glare.
off
Yeah, the
that
glare,
window because now it's black.
Yeah.
Or if it's not dark out yet, there's a parking lot, and you're taking photos of me running from one point to the other
Yeah.
in my red Jeep, right?
Yeah.
Definitely want to have to Photoshop that
Yeah.
out. So we looked at the room, and I knew the bride, and I thought, this is not going to be the right energy for her. And I said to the event coordinator, what if we did this? What if we turned this whole wedding to this corner? And in this corner, there's only one little window here, a window over here. The photography will be much better. The bride and groom will be framed. They will have a beautiful backdrop. And when they enter, the flow of the guests as they come in and they get to their seats, it will not be complicated. And when the bride comes in, not everyone's not going to have to, the turnaround. It's like you got to turn around, you got to spin, you've got everybody in all different directions. So we changed it. And it is now a floor plan that is offered. And
Wow.
and I spoke with this event coordinator a couple of months ago, and she's like, you know what? She's like, ever since you gave us that option, it's the one that's the most used. And again, I feel like that's where I can add value, is walking in, looking at the energy, looking at what you might have to deal with, your struggles, what your struggles are going to be, how the tables are going to get bussed. Where's the DJ really going to sit? Like, do you really want your DJ in every one of your photos? No.
No.
You do not. You want him to play great music. Sometimes that's also not the case. Another problem that we always have is that DJs require bride and grooms to submit, like you do. Photographers will say, give me a list a month before the wedding of all of the people you want photographed and in what order. DJs will say a month before the wedding, give me all the songs you would like played. I highly recommend you also give your DJ songs that you would never like to hear at your wedding. That's
good advice.
Huge.
Yeah,
okay?
That's good advice.
Just because it's popular at other weddings or it's trending does not mean you want to hear it.
Yeah.
And a lot of them you really don't. I mean, I think I read somewhere somebody said their DJ played Gold Digger, and they were just like, is that that's not appropriate, right? They're just like, oh my God, maybe a cool song.
But it's probably one of the most popular songs played at a wedding.
Correct. Yeah. But that kind of stopped them in the middle of their flow because they were like, oh gosh, it was not on our playlist, but it also was not on our don't playlist.
Yes.
So I think those are huge
That's
things.
Good advice. That's good advice.
Have a playlist, have a don't playlist. One of the things that we do is we take your song list. We don't necessarily go through the whole thing because we're also busy, but we make sure those songs are played. I will check in with the DJ with my clipboard and the song list, and I'll be like, hey, where are we at? How are you doing? How's this going? Yeah. And I will work with him to make sure that their songs are coming out. Yep. Making sure that they're being played. And if you don't have a wedding coordinator, nobody's going to know.
Very good point.
But it's important to you to have those songs, right?
Yeah.
Again, another example, because I brought 400,000 because I'm a paper person. These are the things that bring up what we call the post-wedding blues, the post-wedding.
Thank you. That's where I was going next.
Yeah.
Post-wedding syndrome?
Depression.
Let's talk about it.
It's a terrible word, right? It's a terrible word because nobody wants to think in this moment, I'm marrying the love of my life. I am surrounded by people that love me. This is a moment for many people that this is actually a sacrament in their world. This is a very special sacrament that they are accepting into their lives. And it's extremely important for them that it goes off without a hitch or two, right? So because I'm a bring the receipts person, I did bring some paperwork because I like, more importantly, for you not to just hear it from me. But in preparation for this, and always, as we've discussed, how I learn is from my mistakes. Not only am I a professional student, I will study everything until I beat it into the ground. But I read Etsy, I read Pinterest, I research. I unfortunately have 32 bridal apps on my phone. I do follow the knot. I give each one of my brides, once they're hired, I give them the knot binder in paper format. And I do that because I feel if a bride and groom can sit down together without this phone, and they can flip through pages and they can take notes, maybe the knot is not literally the footprint you'll end up going with, but I feel it's very complete. Social media has given all of us in the world, the haves and the have-nots. And Pinterest, Etsy, they're not a vendor. They're not people. They're not the place you go to create your budget.
Great point.
The budget in and of itself is a whole other beast, right? Doesn't have to be, but it becomes a beast because people feel like I have to have 2 wedding dresses. Everybody's doing it. I have to change my clothes. I have to. All of the things. To your first point, how do you deal with someone whose family wants the traditional wedding and you just want to get married under an arch at the venue? How do you work with people who are starstruck by things they think they want, but in the end, they really don't? Everybody gets sunglasses, everybody gets the basket of flip-flops. It's great, but it costs money. Those extra things cost money. And, my philosophy, again, goes back to put your money where the energy is going to be most utilized, right? Have your photographer go to the tables. Have soft seating in there. Have your guests be comfortable. Have your guests just be filled in a sea of candles and something beautiful versus $450, dollars worth of lollipop flowers on a stick where most people are, ducking and weaving.
Yeah.
And all of it's beautiful. But if you have a budget, people get very sad because they can't have.
Yeah.
Right?
Great point.
And they'll change their wedding, they'll make it different, and they won't like it. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you a couple of examples.
Got it.
Okay, but I will share with you this post. It's actually a post. It's on a bridal website in a community, and the bride says, "Can we talk about what I'm calling post-wedding depression?" This is a bride who 4 weeks after her wedding is posting, "I'm depressed." And she says, "I've been doing nothing but complaining about everything our wedding day entailed. Not only the decor, which was DIY'd, which we could talk about for days, right?
Yep.
DIY is great. I'm a DIYer,
Yep.
right? I DIY your wedding,
Yeah.
okay? If your friends don't know how to use a glue stick, or you've witnessed that you don't like the way they decorate their apartment, not only should you not DIY,
Agreed.
for the sake of the look, but timing. I've rescued so many weddings. We're staining palettes. We're going to stain palettes until the cows come home, and every palette's going to have a sign, and then it's the week before the wedding, and it's like, do you have any stain? We can't. We took on too much, and now I'm jumping in, staining 17 palettes that are going to say enter, exit, the DIY. It can save you money, but it can also cost you money.
100%.
So she says the DJ played 0 of our must play playlist, and he required the list, as we've discussed. The majority of our guests left after dinner. The dance floor was empty most of the night. It rained a good portion of the reception. We always talk about the rain. 90% of the time, you're going to get it. And I feel like that's the universe sprinkling the wedding good lucks on you. So just plan for it, okay? The DJ was probably my biggest complaint. Everything was so frustrating. Everything felt rushed, yet almost in slow motion. Because a lot of things I planned were skipped over, and I don't know how to get myself out of this funk. So I don't want to sound like a huge crybaby at all times, but I'm devastated with sadness. And this is a bride, and it goes, DJ, coordinator didn't show up. The parking lot next to where our wedding was outside was filled with construction vehicles because the parking lot next, or the property next to the venue, was going into excavation Monday morning, and they delivered all of their big yellow equipment.
Wow.
Right? Talk about a photographer who needs to white out things, right? The second shooter didn't show up. The chicken was undercooked. My DJ played none of the songs, but my dad paid for him, so it was free. And how sad, right, to think that, oh, that's okay, I didn't have to pay for it anyway, right? People go through a lot. DJ played none of our music. A lot of the DIY decor wasn't used, and a lot of things were missed. My mom didn't come. Didn't know my mom wasn't coming, but mom didn't show up. How do you balance that energy for that bride, right?
Wow.
That's a skill set.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a girl that did not want to go down the aisle. That was a girl in tears, makeup ruined.
Before the ceremony even started.
Before the ceremony, right? Again, we are definitely hurt and a little disappointed. It's hurtful to pour our whole selves into something and be so excited to share it with the people you love, and for them to treat it like an appointment. One of the things that I'm reading a lot about, I have not experienced it, and maybe you can help me with this a little bit, is folks are saying that the 35 to 40 crowd eats and leaves. Now, I have not seen it, but I've witnessed it. As guests, they eat and leave. And again, it creating these comments of, I've put, oh my God, it was $125 a plate. I've got a DJ, I have this big hall. And they're saying only to have my guests leave.
I have not experienced
that. Good to know, but this is what I'm reading, and
I'm trying to like think to back in my memory with as many weddings a year that I do, I can read a crowd and look at, you can see the generations between the older couples and the younger couples as guests.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of DJ friends of mine that are kind of looks like, ooh, this is going to be a good crowd. You can tell.
You can.
And then sometimes the older people you think are going to be gone by 9 o'clock. Yeah. They're the ones that are still there by 11 o'clock. So it's really weird. You can't read them anymore.
Yeah, difficult.
But I have not, to your point, I have not experienced people eating and then walking out the door and not being part of the dancing. I have not experienced that.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't noticed that.
Yeah, okay. And a lot of times, these girls are like, I didn't get to enjoy my wedding, which is why there's a depression, right? People are coming up and saying goodbye. They're stopping us. So if we see a lot of that, I will pull the bride and groom and we will go reset. And I will say, listen, we're going to take a minute. Yeah. We're going to get away from your people. And you're going to go back out there and you're going to go do what you wanted to do. You're going to go right to the dance floor, right? You're not going to go, a lot of people want to go to tables. That's wonderful. I think if you can afford the time and it's on your to-do list, you should do it.
Yeah, agreed.
But a lot of people they're like, I didn't get to enjoy my wedding because I just kept getting stopped. I will always be checking in with the bride.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What do you need? And it will be, take my guests off of me, you know? Back to the post-wedding depression, a 40-year wedding coordinator here says, you know what, it's a real thing. Wedding debt, filing for bankruptcy months after the wedding. Post-wedding depression feels as if they didn't have a say in how they wanted their wedding. They wanted to be present and they were not allowed to for whatever, or they were not able to set the boundaries for themselves, right? People are advising to these folks. What I would do is I would just, at your first anniversary, have a thing, have a celebration. Yeah. One couple says, my husband and I have already decided at our 10th year anniversary, we're going to do this again. And my heart just bleeds for them, right? It's like, whether you've spent $50 on your dress or $50,000 on your dress, you should not have to be thinking that this was the worst celebration of my life.
Agreed. Yep.
For whoever caused it.
Yep.
Whether it's your DIY was bad, your second photographer didn't show up, the food was undercooked, any of those reasons. But this is one post.
Wow.
One. And I went through it with tears, thinking, this one girl, nobody played music as I walked down the aisle because the person who was in charge of starting the music forgot how to run the player.
Wow.
They had their champagne toast glasses had Christmas trees on them because the toast glasses got lost.
Wow.
And I think
I can see the word depression connected to everything you're just saying.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to shift gears for just a quick second. And I feel like this is it's one of the most controversial questions I'm going to ask you because there's so many different people that do things different ways. Yeah. So, in your opinion, as a professional wedding planner coordinator, when do the save the dates go out?
Oh gosh.
When do the invitations go out?
Yeah.
And when should the RSVPs set for them to come back in time for them to tell their caterers? So, save the dates. When should those go out?
I say right after you find your venue.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay. So 1 year out. So let's say somebody's August of this year, August of next year. So your save the dates should go out at least
6 to 8 months.
Okay. That's what I want to hear.
Is how I'm seeing it, knowing people like I know them, that they, there's some brides that are like 20 minutes after they're engaged. Mm-hmm. They're like, save the date. Yeah. They know, right? Yeah. They're like, always wanted to get married on Valentine's Day. Yeah. Next year, we're doing it. I would always say 6 to 8 months.
I tell people, because they always ask me, and I'm like, I really don't know. Yeah. That's not my niche. I tell people, if it's a June, July, August wedding, you should send them out at least a year in advance because people are planning their vacations for that year. Yeah. So if all of a sudden, if you wait till 4 months before your wedding and you're sending it out to them, they're like, oh my God, I already booked my trip and I want to be at your wedding, but I can't. So
yeah. Or if you're getting married during a holiday.
Yes, holiday, great point.
So I feel like it's sort of time of year dependent.
Uh-huh. Great point. Time of year dependent.
Give your guests that you want there, right?
Yep.
As much time as you can.
Yes.
I'm engaged. Sorry.
Sending it early. What's the harm in that?
Not at all.
Invitation. This is the one that is.
Yeah, it's tough.
When should your invitation go out? If you've got an October wedding, when should your invitation go out?
I say June. I say 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
That's my timeline.
Well, I'm asking you. If you were telling your bride, and your bride's asking you, 6 to 8 months. Save the dates. 3 months,
if not 4.
Okay, I'm gonna do 3 to 4 months.
and I say that because
I think
because it, right? You've got your hall. You might not know if you're having chicken or, peanut butter sandwiches yet, but So what's the secret?
Yeah.
Right?
RSVPs. When should those, because you have to tell your caterer, you have to tell your venue how many seats to seat and things like that. If you're doing a buffet, you got to say, hey, we've got 120 people coming. Because I've heard stories of we're planning for 120 and then only 75 people showed up.
Yeah.
You're still paying for that 120 people.
Yeah, you do. So I say 2 months.
Okay.
Because I always recommend an A-list guest list and a B-list guest list because you can't have everyone.
What's an A-list and a B-list?
So the A-list is the people that you're just like, they have to be here.
Got it.
It's every relative and every best friend.
Got it.
And then you're like, okay, I would love to have, Julie used to babysit my kids. She would love to see my kids get married.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell her, listen, love to have you there. I got I got a head count.
Yeah.
Everybody does. I'm B-listing you, Julie. And she'll be like, awesome. What's the date?
Yeah.
And she's going to put it on her calendar. And those are your people, right? Those are the people in your life where they're psyched to be B-listed.
Right. We can afford X amount of people to come.
Yeah.
But when they start RSVPing back and they can't make it, then I know I have room to get other people that my college roommate or something like that. Something like that. B-list kind of thing like that. And I feel like it doesn't put people in second place.
Not at all.
It just means I can only afford so much. So when these people start to say they can't make it, that leaves me room to grab a couple of more people from the thing. And I think that's good advice. I think that's good advice.
And again, I feel it's who do you surround yourself with? Who are your people? You know, your people are not categorized in travel lanes in an A list or a B list or a C list, right? You're not hanging out with, you know, maybe one before the other, but if they're your people, they're going to get you, and they're going to understand, and they're going to know, and that's critical. But the wedding invitations are a huge pain point. Dealing with one right now, two actually. The invitation says formal / tuxedo preferred. Formal / I forgot what word they used. There's a difference between formal attire and black tie. I think it was formal / black tie, formal / tuxedos preferred, right? So formal is a type of black tie. Formal is a type of tuxedo. If you want people in tuxedos, don't write preferred. Write tuxedos preferred. If you would like it to be black tie, say black tie. Okay. If you say black tie, it is formal. If you say tuxedo, it is formal. No one's showing up in jeans. But people will Google, and we're doing this right now because we have a wedding and the folks are from a different country. They don't understand the lingo.
Great point.
So they're Googling it.
Great point.
And now they're all confused. They don't know what to wear. So be specific. I tell my brides, I had a wedding. The bride wore white. And can I just say that the bride that you just photographed with the red dress, I think I would have paid to go to that wedding. I am enamored with that couple. And I look back when I find myself needing to find a happy place, I go to your site and I look at that dress and I look at that wedding and his suit and I think, she made that. What an artist and what energy and what, I know it was a cultural thing where they're very comfortable wearing a dress that's not white. Had I known, I probably would have been hiding in the bushes because I would have given anything to see that. I just, it just warms my heart when people are they celebrate their culture. They will step outside the tradition. They will do them. And that, again, I could go on for hours about her dress. And if people haven't seen it, they should look up those photos. But I had a bride who had a relative wear a cream lace dress. And she asked me to go talk to that person and ask the person if they wouldn't mind, one, leaving and going and changing the dress. The bride was like, she doesn't live far from here. Just tell her to get out of that dress. Or could you just make sure you shadow her so she's not in any of the photos? So I always say with the invitation, if you don't want anyone showing up in a white-ish cream, right? A lot of people have beautiful spring dresses that are cream, and there's a pink flower at the bottom, but you don't see the pink flower, right? Put it on your invitation. And it's okay to say, you know, this is my wedding. It's very important for me to be the only person in white. You know, please respect my wishes.
Yeah.
Similar in fashion to where you're saying, I love your children. I can't have the children here today. Working on a wedding right now, no children. But the groom's family is from a different country. They have to travel with their child to get here. So they're allowing that one child to come.
That's going to open a can of worms for
the can.
Yep. And I feel like nowadays with wedding couples, both working full-time jobs, I feel like they don't have the time to put into the energy of planning a wedding. The benefit of having a wedding planner like yourself is you're able to help them with all of that. Okay, you guys are busy. You tell me what you're looking for and I will go and take care of that. Then we'll have a phone call or a meet in person so I can give you an update on everything that is. Then you tell me what you want to tackle next, and then I go out and do that, and then I come back and we tackle that. And I feel like a lot of couples that are married now or getting married now have two professional jobs, two corporate jobs, and they just don't have the time to put into planning a wedding. But they want it to be planned to the way that they want. So the best way to do that is to hire a wedding planner so that you can fulfill their wishes for their wedding day. Start to finish.
Start to finish.
Good. Anything else?
I'm good.
All right. I told you that was going to be a needle in a haystack. There were so many nuggets in there from doing it yourself. Try not to do that because time just gets away from you, and then all of a sudden you've got people helping you staying a week before the wedding. So this podcast was about business and about having the benefits of a wedding planner. There is a difference between an event coordinator and a wedding planner. We addressed that inside of here. They have the best, wedding coordinators have the best interest of the venue. Wedding planners have the best interest of everybody when it comes to the timelines and everything else like that, keeping everybody on track. Karen actually goes up to the DJ to make sure that they're playing the songs they're supposed to be playing. That is just extra mile. And we talked about, as a professional, you should be going the extra mile and things like that. So thank you guys for coming back to the channel. All of Karen's information will be down in the description below. So go follow her on Instagram. Go see what she's doing on social media. Follow her and see what she's doing. And you'll see by what she's doing that separates her from somebody else. So remember to smile more. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. I appreciate that. Don't forget the like button and the subscribe button. Remember to smile more because it sure does hurt less. Peace.